that certainly sounds like something for kind of founders in fintechs to think about when they're embarking on a new project. So I've got one final question. Um, what happens next? Like the democratization of technology, and how do we regulate it? Because we talked, a lot about kind of ethics and regulation. How what's the next steps?
Oh, I think more and more open source is coming. So I think, that it's just, more and more out there how people can engage and interact at the very start of a product, all this sharing of information. I think that will just continue. And open source, as and how regulators kind of engage with that as well will just be actually more in the hands of the people that want to control it. So educating yourself, I think, and having the younger generation kind of growing up in this world that is more comfortable with the technology and understanding it, and then engaging with it through coding and open sourcing and having that visibility, I think means that will come. And they probably are going to be also the generation that have seen, the downside of not having either company ethics or regulation and policy at the heart. Not only the teenage impacts you talked about, Pete, but I've lived a bit in the US, and just the shootings and kind of the use of social media by very extreme views out there. It will be the younger generation that have grown up with that impact. They will be the ones that were in schools and saw it firsthand, had friends, had family impacted by it. So their voices are going to be really loud in this if we don't figure it out first. And I think it's really lazy of us in our decision making roles that we're all in to say, well, the younger generation will come and they'll sort it out. So we've got to step up. I think we've got to engage in the conversation wherever you sit in this, in companies, in public places, in government, in regulators, as a consumer, and realize that this is a challenge that we've all got to address. And we can do it quickly. I think this kind of age old, almost legacy thinking of, well, to change this is just going to take a long time. Technology doesn't wait for that. And so I think, just us catching up with that and not waiting, for me, is, I think, a really big call to action for all of us.
I think the flip side of that, and I completely agree with all of that stuff in terms of people power, is I think what we're going to see in the next couple of years is um, those radical, smart, transformational technologies being opened up to even more people. So we're going to see, NLP and machine learning and quote unquote AI, or I prefer like autonomous machine reasoning now rather than the term AI, and like algorithms as APIs, so that and there's a lot of acronyms there, but the point is that like a lot of this technology that's been fairly exclusive to groups of people that know how to harness it are going to be opened right up, so that all of these bedroom entrepreneurs are going to start tapping into some of this stuff. Now that could go in one of two ways. It's either going to go really, really well, and we're going to democratize the use of this powerful radical technology and see some huge changes and cultural shifts, or it's going to go in exactly the same way as social media went. There are going to be catastrophic consequences unless we get the regulation and the frameworks in place to do that. But we can't stop it. And I think, open banking has started this movement, and I think the movement is only going to get more radical as, software becomes easier for people to create their own banks and services through. I think it's going to be really exciting in the next few years, but I do think it's going to be bumpy. And so there is a kind of warning in my final thoughts that, it's going to be a bumpy couple of years. There are going to be mistakes. Economically and financially, I think people are going to struggle. We're seeing that right now with crypto. Like it's tanked, and it was a great idea that's just not been regulated, and a lot of people have lost a lot of money. And so I think the use of this kind of radical personalization has to be done. It will be done by everybody that can use it. It's just got to be done in the right way.
I would just add to that, if I can, Emma, as Pete was talking, I was thinking, it's also probably about focusing it on the big problems we have to solve, right? Like, get that at the forefront of this, and we might see it all kind of going in the direction we need. We've got a huge call to action here, and all living in a very different way to kind of figure out how this planet kind of operates in the next kind of decades to come. So, that open technology, as Pete said, and that the embracing of that, I do remain a technology optimist. Having that now being translated and focused to solving the biggest problems we've got, hopefully is kind of what does happen.